Hey, you guys, I want to talk about simplicity and being realistic, being grounded, being practical, being um, smart with our resources and our finances. And I know that I'm going to be judged by people who are not God, that they're going to look at me like they're looking at a cat in a box, right? Like, well, let's see what happens if we do this. Let's see what happens if we do that. That kind of mentality of putting anyone, any living thing, whether it's a plant or a cat or a dog or a human being, when you put something that lives in a box, for lack of a better term, for observation purposes, the people who are conducting these experiments, they have a goal. They have an agenda. They don't want to be wrong. They want to be able to prove that what they're doing is worth their time and the government's money. They want to make sure that they get their money for what they're doing. They want to make sure that they're not ridiculed for what they're doing or criticized, because there goes their credibility. There goes their reputation. There goes their money. What about the living thing that's being observed? What about the children, the child, the woman, the man, the pet, whatever, the tree, the plant? That means nothing to them, because it's like that child or that woman or that man or that tree or that plant or that pet, that cat, that animal, that guinea pig, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We're scientists here, or whatever you are. We have to measure. We have to document. We have to, prove. So if it was a bomb that was suggested as what goes off when radioactivity is sensed, if it was a bomb, what happens to the cat? Cats, trees, people. Oh, that's what happens with our testing. Because you've got to find out. You've got to find out what it does. But you're not going to test it on yourself. Whether it's a gas or an explosive or a liquid or any kind of a poisonous substance, you're not going to experiment on yourself. No. You're going to tell people, there's this thing out here and we need to, vaccinate everybody. And you, in the back room amongst you, you're going, I really don't know what it's going to do, but we'll have to see. Because it doesn't matter to you, because it's not you. It's not your child. So you need guinea pigs. Because people won't volunteer. You have to make it so that they'll want to, because they're scared. never claimed to be a physicist. I'm not. I'm the average folk. I just wanted to have a restaurant with the smoke outside because secondhand smoke is dangerous, according to doctors. But look how long it took to get the smoke outside. Since they found out smoking was bad and the time that it was illegal to smoke indoors. Why did it take so long? Well, because the people have rights, right? We don't want to, the customers to run them off. Because when it's something good for them, it takes you a long time to get it done. But when it's something that you don't know, you are quick to do it. When it's something that's been proven, it takes so long to get it done. Why? Because sick people make you money. Who makes money off of sick people? Is this intelligent to have a bunch of sick people? And then you say, well, you've got to put this that we've got this medication, we've got this vaccine, you're quick to offer it, knowing that there's going to be side effects to it. But it ain't you, it ain't your family. There's only some being that's higher than us who can be in two places at once. And that is the Father, the Son. Son, daughter. I mean, we can measure and measure and measure and measure. Let me just give you an example how stupid this measurement deal is. Okay? If I measure my waist tonight, after having eaten this, and that, I'm going to measure myself tomorrow after having eaten the same exact thing. Measuring every ounce of water because I'm being measured. I have to consider, my irregularity, with everything, digestion, everything, but as close as possible. Folks, you're not going to get the same exact measurement. Let us measure the chest of a woman. Do you know that women's breasts grow and they shrink and they grow and they shrink depending on the time of the month? Depending on how much weight they've gained or how much water weight? The same thing with their waist, the same thing with everything. Their face, everything. And we're trying to measure things that we cannot see. When our governments then turn around and say, we don't have enough money for our public schools. We don't have enough money for our police officers. We don't have enough money for our firefighters. We don't have enough money for people who are disabled, for the veterans, and for other disabled people. We don't have enough money. But when it comes to, hey, we need money to make bombs and weapons of mass destruction, and for people to test and experiment, So, I want to know, what is the priority here? Not just in our nation, but all nations. I want to know, what is the priority? Who are you afraid of? Who is threatening you? If somebody threatened me, I would publicly come out and say it, so that everybody knows I'm being threatened. Because we have to be transparent and honest with one another, because truth is truth. And in God, we should fear, not man. This is why we need to learn self-defense. Self-defense without guns, because if you're a true man, you wouldn't need a gun. And this is for all of y'all. I'm not saying people don't have the right to own their gun. Yes, they do. That's a separate issue. I'm not talking about personal guns for going hunting and protecting yourself, quote unquote, or whatever. That's your God-given right. We have freedoms in this country. But what I'm talking about is developing. How long have we known that atomic bombs are not good? How many people have to die in a war because of grenades and bombs and guns before we realize, you know what, maybe we should just take that out of the restaurant. Let's just take it out of the restaurant. Just like we did smoke outside. Because CIA, clean indoor air. I mean, what is all this gathering the intelligence for? God is gathering us, and just like we're measuring, we're being measured. We're just like little atoms. You know, when I look out the window and I see the trees, the limbs, I feel like a tiny little thing in this body, and all of these little neurons and these vessels. And you know, trees communicate. So if trees communicate, that just goes to show you, look at how the trees are shaped. As above, so below. But also, you know, the root system, they're communicating with one another for nutrients and such. We know that because wonderful, you know, biologists have been able to, you know, teach us that. Science is beautiful. It's a good thing when we use it to genuinely help one another. So what parts of our bodies look like trees? Our lungs, our vessels, our neurons. So if putting a cat or putting a person in a box with radioactive activity, if it's, you know, if it's detected that there's radioactivity, then this flask is broken and it releases a gas or a liquid or a bomb. Or is it going to kill the cat or the person? No, scheisse. I mean it. It doesn't take a mad scientist to understand that this is just right down madness. We have so much intelligence being wasted and sitting around, fiddle-farting around. Well, fiddle-farting around is not bad when you're wasting time. instead of going to war. When you have to think about it, like calm thyself and fiddle for a minute. Kill time, okay? Or buy time. Buy time, kill time, that means the same thing. And isn't that funny? Kill time, buy time. Hey, why don't we kill the cat or buy the cat? Why don't we buy the cat? Yeah, that's better. Buying the cat is better than killing the cat. I'd be darned. Can we buy time? No, we can't buy time. But if you want to look at it that way, we can fiddle, fart. Let's fiddle. Let's play music while we are thinking about it. There are scientists who are against nuclear arms, and they're called, the whole thing is called SANA. S-A-N-A. See, my stepfather, he used to call me Sana Sana la Cochinada. Ask him. I'm not making this stuff up. And that means heal the filth. I'm not anti-government. I like reaching out to government and saying, would you please, thank you, and excuse me. You know, I believe that I am somebody, even though I don't have a degree. But I'm not going to accept our government agency by the name of Department of Human Services to be taking my son away from me based on allegations that they could not prove in court, saying, well, we already communicated with DHR, and Mobile communicated to us here in Montgomery that you're not mentally stable. What part of mentally stable do you not understand that I am? So, if I were mentally unstable, I would be doing something disruptive and destructive with my God-given intelligence, wouldn't I? I am not going to be pleasing anybody anymore. I'm not here to be pleasing anybody. You know, because people are not here to please me. I'm not going to ask somebody to do something they don't want to do. No. I'm not doing it. But you know, when I broke my left arm, hand, wrist, 2 to 3 years ago, well, 2.5 years ago, I did not think, it never occurred to me, because I'm left-handed, I'm on my right state of mind. It never occurred to me that I could eat chopsticks with my right hand. It never occurred to me. But you know, and if I try to do it right now, I probably would be challenged because I would have to do it all over again. But I can crack an egg better with my right hand than with my left. I can use my chopsticks just the same as I can with my left, and I can write with my right hand out of necessity. I think all children should be taught in school, not made to do it, but highly encouraged via, you know, just like in class, you know, like, okay, kids, well, now we're going to take about, 5 minutes for you to practice doing something with your opposite hand. You know, maybe if it's rounded scissors, or chopsticks, or writing, eating, with a spoon, doing something with the opposite hand. In that way, you teach the child, it's like an exercise, just like you teach him A, B, C, D, like that. Because I think it's important for us to start thinking with our other side of our brain, if for a lack of a better term. Because I believe that, I mean it. Why was I being denied a job in Mobile. All those years that I was there. I applied at doctor's offices. I applied in retail. I applied, all kinds of places. And I had something in my record keeping me from getting a job. I want to know what it was. What was it? Did it say that I was illegal or something? Or that I was some kind of a con artist or some kind of a thief or some kind of a murderer or some kind of a whatever? Crazy person? I want to know because, I didn't make money for a long time. By the grace of God, I'm here. When I met James, I said, James, for the love of God and Jesus, come and get me in Mobile. Because I was without a car. I had to sell my car in order to pay rent at one point. Because I don't play games. I don't like people hiring me only to let me go. Or have me going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like an idiot. Because I will not put up with those games. I wasn't born to be your nerd. I was working at a hotel, and then I was hired to work for a local company. I went over there, and then soon afterwards they said, we can, you can go back. And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. Once I go, I don't go back. And y'all know that my son was taken from me when I was in the moving transition. Because you know that Jacob was taken from me in Mississippi. And I was not able to leave for a long time. And my family in Virginia didn't know what the heck was going on. Nobody came to visit me to see really what was going on. My stepfather came and he paid for attorney fees twice. My divorce did not go through. It's not that I was wanting to squander anybody's money or squander my money. I was always on time with my bills when I was young. I was always on time and paying my bills on time because I had that regular money coming in from when I was on active duty. I had my ducks in a row. I wasn't spending my money on other stuff, vices. I have a vice, and that's chewing gum and drinking coffee. And I know that I lack, that I lack refinement. Because when I try to be refined, then it's like I'm not humble. I'm not humble enough. Or maybe I'm trying too hard. Or maybe it just looks right down comical, right? When I try. So I'm not going to try. I'm just going to be myself. And then you're going to say, she's not refined enough for the job that we need her to do. So I'm not refined enough to work at Hobby Lobby? Or at TJ Maxx? Or at, what was that other place? Kirkland's? I was applying to those places where they do hobby stuff. I like decorating my house with Hobby Lobby and Michaels and Kirkland's. With very little money. But now, it's like, my stuff has been in the storage unit for a whole year. My son in DHR for 3 years. I've been on unemployment because of this COVID thing. Wearing a mask is not going to keep us from getting sick. This whole thing is to, it's like, oh, well, Americans are not humble enough. It's like, no, I'm so sorry. I am humble. You don't even know what humble means. There are people that are just right down hypocritical in your face because they know how to speak about God and they went to school to speak about, oh, the Lord, and they have not seen God. They don't know God. They know that they're getting paid. When you know God, you see it. You see it in the community. Why are these cities running down? Who's running them down? Why are these kids being wasted their God-given intelligence by taking out art classes and taking out music and taking out drama and taking out foreign languages? Well, they never were foreign languages in elementary. There never were any drama classes, only for the gifted, because we have a limited slots. We have limited slots for the gifted children, and these are the parents that they know somebody get their kids in the gifted program. All kids are gifted. Our police officers don't make enough money to do what they do. And it is true that we have some corruption everywhere. It's not just in government, it's not just with the police officers, but we've got all kinds of hoodlums in our very communities, our very neighbors in our very communities, and I'm not talking about Montgomery. No, my Montgomery's got the answer. No, I'm talking about Mobile. There's all kinds of human trafficking and all kinds of stuff. All kinds of organ harvesting here in this country. No. And then when people go missing, it's like, oh, we don't know. We don't know. It's like, excuse me, yes, you do know. Speak up. If you see something that's not right, speak up. I don't care what you have against me, bring it on. Bring it out in the open. Let us. I don't want anything in hiding. No. I don't want anybody to say, well, I have something against you. No. And I want everybody to follow. Everybody say, whatever you have against me, bring it out in the open. I have nothing to fear and nothing to hide. I only fear my Father only. I fear no man. That way nobody has anything against you and they cannot have you under their thumb. You see, God is a God of freedom. Hallelujah. Woo! I mean, do I fart? Yes. Do I go to the bathroom? Yes. Number one and number two. I mean it. I have a body. Don't you have a body? I eat and it goes down, it gets digested, and then you go, and other stuff. I know that I lack, what is it, refinement. I will show you. I can be refined if I want to be. Oh, yes, I can. I know I can. Under different circumstances, I can put on my high heels and, be all prissy. And then it's like, but we already know she's really not prissy. So what's the point? Well, then what's the point? Why do we have makeup? Why do we have makeup? Why do we have high heels? Aren't they for women to wear? I want to wear such things. I do. I want to wear jewelry. I am not a hypocrite. Does that make me not holy enough? Or does that make me not humble enough? Please. I've seen some of you, oh Lord, hallelujah, with your diamonds and your big, very expensive jewelry. I don't have expensive jewelry. No, I got this little Hamsa hand from TJ Maxx. I asked my friend, I said, will you please buy it for me and I'll pay you back? And he said, don't worry about it. It was like $20-something. And I got this other little mother and child pendant from, it's solid gold now, this one, from eBay for $40. It was originally 200 and something dollars. You know, and it's like, I got these for 50 something dollars. I know how to buy direct, but it's like, some people get upset when I buy direct because it's like, why are you buying direct from eBay or from China? It's like, I'm not buying everything directly from China. No. Everything comes from China anymore. Because everyth's made in China. Because what's happening? Are the Chinese to blame? No, the Chinese are not to blame. China's not our enemy. No. If we want to be smart about it, we need to stop saying that. Oh, Russia's our enemy and Korea's our enemy. It's like, are you dumb or something? Sit down on the table. If they want to eat cheese, let them eat cheese. Y'all eat together. Isn't that why God made us? Instead of making fun of one another as politicians, you guys spend so much of our American hard-earned money, and all of y'all spend your people's money on this propaganda against another politician. You know how expensive that is? And all of these investigations, you know how expensive that stuff is? It's very expensive. Suck it up. Money that you could be very well spent on raising the minimum wage and helping people get off the street. How would you like to sleep on the street one day? Just one day I would like to see you sleep on the street out there. I see the little old ladies and little old man out there in the street, and it breaks my heart at night. It does, and I'm not a politician, and I don't want to be a politician. I don't want that job, thank you. That's why I wanted to have my own restaurant, and I want to be the mom of my son. That's why I need a job, because otherwise I start going, woohoo, this is called, not that I want your attention, but I do, okay? But I want to talk about it. I'm a Latino woman. I'm not going to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I am a Latino woman who's just the average person. I am not graceful enough, but I try. Thank God for God and His most mercy. My papa knew I lacked. My papa knew this little girl. She is a faithful one. She is my daughter, and he was protecting me because my godmother's mother, Mamita in Panama, was always praying for me. Oh, please, Father, protect Susie. And she would tell me, I prayed for you, for God to protect you. And my God did protect me all the time. I want you to know God is real. And God is the only one that can be here and there and on both sides of the water. He is in you. You just have to declare it. I want you, if somebody's threatening you behind closed doors with anything. Oh, we've got this against you, that you were cheating on your wife, or you were, cheating on your taxes, or you were cheating, or whatever it is that you were doing that's so filthy, dirty, or whatever, in the churches or in anything. Just come out and say it. Come out and say it and declare it, and you can be free. Yes, I did this and I did that, and yes, I repent. Repentance, and the Papa already forgave us. Ha! Ha ha! Isn't that? The Papa already forgave us. It already happened. But you've got to come out and say it. And that is the freedom. You will feel liberated. You know how some people, when they're gay, and they say, it's like, I need to come out of the closet. Well, I am straight. Ha ha! Okay? But the thing is, when somebody's gay, they may as well just say it. When my cousin told me that he was gay, I was like, I already knew that. I already knew that before you knew it. And he was like, really? I said, yes, I still love you. I love you, because it takes more guts for a man who's gay to come out and say, hey, I'm gay. It takes more. That's a man that says, hey, I am who I am, the way the Father made me. And this is why some people from the church were going after me, because they were like, oh, what is this rainbow thing? Well,
I don't want to hear your hypocrisy, because some of you, with a tie and a bow tie, and you're hiding behind your Christianity and your hypocrisy and your religiosity, and you're doing perverted things with the children. Things that you wouldn't even be doing with your wife. But you're married, and you're, church man, and you're doing whatever with the kids, the boys and the little girls, and mostly little boys. Churchy. Please. It's the truth. My papa said, I give you permission to talk about these things. I have no shame. I have no shame, because my father has cleansed me. I asked James, I said, I want to marry you if you want to be married, so we're not sinning. And he said, oh no, I don't want to be married. Let me tell you about these young men nowadays. They don't want to be married. They don't want children. They're addicted to vices, and they just want to, just la. Okay, well, whatever. Don't blame me. Don't blame me for being a biblical whore, because I ain't a biblical whore. I am my father's daughter. ¿Qué es eso? Then you're gonna be like, oh, mírala que sucia. No, ninguna sucia de nada. ¿Ah? Qué frescura. Hey, I wanted to be married a long time ago. I got married. And then, but I'm not going to be oppressed by my own husband. No. Men and women were created in the image of God. What part of that did you not understand in the Bible? Read your books. I'm not going to be oppressed by a man. I am equal to a man. I may not have testicles. I may not have testosterone, but I have estrogen. I may not have testicles, but I have breasts. A man doesn't have breasts. A man doesn't have a womb. But we see how equally important we are. You cannot have babies if you don't have the egg and the sperm in the womb. And then you think that women are inferior because they're the ones that have to be pregnant for 9 months. Back in the days, the men had concubines because they had to scatter and multiply. Now the Father's saying, no. We've got limitations here. We've got Mother Earth that can only handle so many people. Okay, now chill it. Okay? But this does not give the scientists, the elite, the intelligent, sophisticated people who are in on things to be eradicating people because we're overcrowded. Can you just hand out birth control pills or teach people? Oh no, but the Catholic Church is gonna. Oh no, that's okay. Well, what is it? What do you prefer? Do you prefer birth control or abortion? Abortion is not birth control. Somebody has to talk about these things. I'm not gonna be your biblical whore. Because I don't identify with that role. You understand? I don't care who you send my way. Oh, but look what she's choosing to do. No, my father said, you know what? You're going to tell these people. They're the ones that are participating in this pornography. And they're the ones that are participating in all this, measuring. Just go on and go and while deny me a job. Huh? If I had my job and my child, I wouldn't be out there needing anything. But you see how you like to measure because you've got a proof. But I'm here to prove to you that God is real. Not only is God real, but He has most mercy on y'all. So, here in America, we say, in God we trust. So what does God want us to do to the children, with the children? Doesn't He tell us in the Bible that the one in us is greater? So aren't we supposed to be giving the children what they need to be the future leaders of the future instead of the future patients for your psycho medication and your psychotherapy? I'm not saying that you need to find another job. I'm just saying there's a better way. There's a better way. With God, we will do it right. With God. Our police officers go out there and they risk their lives every day. Every minute they're out there, they're risking their lives. Every day, I'm sure that those spouses must be every day praying, for their husband, for their wife, when they go out there on duty. It's a dangerous world. And some of you say, well, there's a lot of corruption among the police officers. That is true that there's some corruption, just like there's corruption among you. So don't say that you're just all good out there. There's a lot of theft. There's a lot of child pornography. There's a lot of exploitation of humanity, and which is something that the police officers really don't go into. They only deal with what's in front of them. The FBI and the CIA, they're the ones that oversee. Well, I want to know how can we say that our President Trump, that Russia infiltrated, if we have a good national security team? Infiltration from where? It is true that we let everybody and their brother come in here legally and illegally, and then we say we don't have enough for our own people. But these people that come in here say, hey, America likes people like us because we help the economy. But this was happening, okay? We need balance. When people leave their countries because their own countries are oppressing them, exploiting them, killing them, what do? Or blacklisting them, blackmailing them, whatever. Corruption in their own countries. They come to America because America is the most open. And then what happens? They leave behind those who cannot leave. They leave behind the poor. They leave behind the disabled, the elderly, the very young, the wounded, the just disabled. Okay? So that economy is going to get worse. But then it's like, what to do? I mean, what to do? You don't blame them for leaving, right? For where the grass is greener. I don't blame them. But what's happening to those countries is going to be poorer and poorer and more corrupt. And the people in there are the weakest of the people who cannot leave. They don't have the means, either financial means, or they just don't have the means. They're too young, too old, or too disabled. How is that going to help that country's economy? How is that going to help the people who are corrupting it? Something to think about, because what's happening over there is happening over here too. Because everybody and their brother that comes in here, one of two things happen. Either they come with their customs in their culture, which is good, but it's not all good all the time. Everybody is not good. Everybody is not good. So are we going to be like China, monitoring everything and everyone? So is China communist? Why is China communist? Is America communist? Are we going in that direction? We've got to put these things on the table today, folks. Today. So we can add it all up and come to a happy medium, okay? Come to what is called a balanced, simple life. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable in an entanglement. And God is not a God of entanglement. God does not like entanglements. He says there's one way. Is light. There's a difference between light and invasion of privacy. This is where our national security and our government and us as a people, we need to understand their point of view too. Because if we are like, oh, we don't want anybody invading our privacy, but you know that there's child trafficking, that there's organ harvesting, that there's all kinds of perversion and illegalities, people stealing other people's money, stealing other people's intellectual capital, invasion of privacy, all kinds of pornography among adults is probably the least of their problems. With all the disorganization we've got going on in these nations, okay? You have to understand that our national security team is a multinational team because they have to be able to understand these different languages and translate for national security. But then they've got to be loyal to the country they're working for, even though they may not be a native. This is why it's a foreign, what they call it's a foreign effort. And so we need to rethink about how we do, you know, how we're carrying on with this spying on one another. Because we really just need to be vigilant without invading other people's privacy. But then we already need to be also accountable for when people go missing. Because when people go missing and our cameras didn't quote unquote catch it, I'm not buying it. Because if we can catch people, and this has been going on for a long time. I mean, even when I was told by somebody like, oh, didn't you know Dr. Martin Luther King, you know, he was unfaithful. And it's like, I don't care. That's none of your business what that man was doing behind his business. I mean, think about it. The man was traveling to and from. That man had amazing responsibility and he had so much time to get it done. It ain't any of your business. Look at your own sins and then you know, this kind of stuff, the spying on people and of course high profile people and political people. You know, all of this, but it's not just limited to that. Now we're spying on one another and it's so easy, and then it's like, oh, blackmailing people for money, sabotaging, what is not extorting, picking up kids via the DHR system and it's extortion. It is an extortion. It is a form of extortion. It is torture. And since when does our country engage in that? For a long time, according to Nancy Schaefer. This has been going on for a long, long time. There's a better way. There's a better way to negotiate. There's a better way to raise our children. There's a better way to educate our children. There's a better way for everything. And there's only one way, and it's light. And light does not mean invasion of privacy. This is where we need to have a balance. But there's also no excuse for when people go missing to not know where they are. You see, that balance is very delicate matter. And I don't mean matter, but you know what I mean. A delicate subject. So, you don't want people spying on you, but when you have a teenage daughter, you will put on something on her phone so that you know where she's at, or in her car, so that you know where your daughter is at. Right? I mean, we do that. We have the same thing for the YouTube for our children. That's our God-given right to raise our children. So when DHR picks up our children, they have these kids to and from these different environments where these people are doing it, some of them for the money. I'm not saying all of them. So they have to cooperate with DHR, and that the kids are getting switched around. The caseworkers are also being switched around. When the caseworker does no longer want to cooperate with the system, or when the family no longer wants to cooperate with the system, because sometimes the families are able to see, like, oh, I realize now that these kids are probably never going to be given back to their parents because they've been switched around. And in order to cooperate with the HR, in order to continue to get money from the government, they're going to cooperate, and they're just going to get another child and another child and another child. While these caseworkers are given the green light to lie in court because everybody knows they're lying for the system, for the colleagues that feed off these kids. Why does our government invest money to purposely damage the children? Or why are you turning a blind eye to this matter? Because if you are turning a blind eye, which you are, what you're saying is, I don't want to be held responsible, but you're paying for it. You are paying money to these agencies, CPS, DHR, to continue to conduct their business the way they have. By turning a blind eye to it, you're like, well, I'm not responsible, but you are. You need to be held responsible for what you do and leave undone. These kids are being raped, some of them being molested, and nobody cares and nobody knows, because these kids get switched around to and from. And then they end up in jail because, or committing suicide. Is that what you want for the children? Really? I want to talk to y'all, men and women, on the table, because I know personally in the DHR in Mobile, the supervisor and the caseworker both lied. And when the one caseworker who refused to lie, he was let go. I've had these attorneys, quote unquote, represent me when they weren't representing me at all. They weren't speaking on my behalf. None of these guardian ad litems are speaking on behalf of the children. I'm not making this up. This has happened to me. I have lived it. I was told by Mr. and Mrs. Miller, Miss Miller, she said to me, Susan, we know the judge. Let DHR do what they need to do to Alexander, because it's not her child. I don't know if there was a negotiation to clean up somebody's record or to relieve somebody from some system in exchange for my child. I don't know. People are desperate for money and desperate to clean up their record. I was told by Miss Gomez from the Methodist Church, Susan, you just need to redo your whole Facebook. Just if you want to get a job, just redo your whole Facebook. Don't put anything in there about vaccines and this is before COVID. I was not anti-vaccine. I was saying that there's a right medication for the right patient at the right time through the right route for the right reasons in the right dosage. We've got to respect the 5 rights. If you don't know what it's going to do, then don't do it. If you don't know what that bomb is going to do, then don't do it. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen if I stick this candle up my butt. I wonder what's going to happen if I stick this candle up that cat's butt. Do it to yourself. You want sacrifice, human sacrifice for whatever reason? Sacrifice yourself. Be a man. Be a woman. Don't do it to the children. I will spank my son's butt. I will spank him. But that's my son. Because I don't want him to go astray. If my son ever said to me, Mom, I'm gay, I would say, I love you, son. I know that. I knew that. But when a child is straight and people are brainwashing the kids into, oh, it's okay to be gay. It's like, no, let the kids be. Don't be putting things in their head. Don't be putting in there and mixing it up. Because God is not a God to confuse the children. God wants simple for the children. Okay? Let the children paint. Let them play musical instruments. Let them speak foreign languages in elementary school. Let them learn self-defense and yoga. And have plenty of oxygen and daylight and plenty of exercise. Because all children are gifted. You know, children can learn while they're, doing something else. But invasion of privacy and everybody and their brother in somebody's house there measuring and taking notes and desiring what is not theirs. No. We can't have that in America. Because injustice somewhere is injustice everywhere. It is true that the people who are already here, legally or illegally, let these people be. They're already here. Let us know what's what and who is who. There are some people that don't want the government to know they're here because they're using somebody else's identity. Well, that has to do with identity theft. So in order to avoid identity theft, let us make sure we know who is who and what is what. And move on. If you want to be considered a citizen of this country or this state, pay your taxes. If you don't have legal right, you have tax ID, that's fine. That way we are helping the economy. And we can pay for better school systems. We can pay a better salary for our police officers. The better you pay for police officers, we're going to see less and less corruption. Whenever you pay people a better salary, just the average person, you're going to see less corruption among the poor. Because they're going to have less need to resort to those illegalities to make ends meet. And when we do as we say, in God we trust, other nations will be emulating the good. And it's because everybody's watching America. Everybody's always watching America. Everybody wants to come over here because it's the land of the free. Is it really the land of the free for the natives? We only have so many resources. We can't let everybody and their brother in here at once. And these people need to understand there are other countries. And then if we as nations, we know that Yemen is in need, why are we attacking Yemen even more? If we know that they are in need, why are we attacking them even more? The vulnerable. Is that a manly thing to do with your God-given power and your God-given gift? God gives us dominion to take care of the animals and their environment that they live in. God did not say, I give you dominion over other men. And God also says, through the Spirit, not by power or might. Because God is powerful and He's the Almighty, it is true. But by the Spirit, we will get it done. The Spirit of God that is pouring out over every part of the earth. All four corners. All the nooks and crannies. The Spirit. And we're going to kill them. We're going to kill them with love. The enemy. Who's the enemy? Whether you're over here or you're over there, it's like, oh, that's the enemy. It's like, okay, that's the enemy. Yeah. We need to start reading left to right and right to left and let kids, use both hands. So both their brains are exercising, both their sides of the brain. So they can understand, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe our ancestors used to fight about, which way the butter was, up or down. Like the butter battle book, and Dr. Seuss was right. So I don't want the churches saying that, oh, okay, this lady, she's a biblical whore because she's having intercourse outside of marriage. It's like, let me tell you something, folks. Sex is normal, part of life. I'm a female. I'm not 100 years old. And maybe there are some 100-year-old ladies who have sex. I don't know. Maybe. Back in the biblical times, obviously, they lived longer. But to make my point is, I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite like, oh, no, I don't have sex because I'm not married. Police. I don't want to hear any of your hypocrisy. Like, oh, no, you're not supposed to touch yourself. It's my body. I touch my head. I touch my hand. I touch whatever part of my body I want to touch. People have the right to touch their body. Don't be hypocrites. What are you trying to do with the children? Trying to turn them into what? You want them to turn green in the face? Like, oh, I can't have sex and I can't touch myself. Oh, I can't be gay and I can't be straight either. Oh my God. Stop doing that to the children. That's hypocrisy. Let people be. I'm not saying go out there and encourage kids to be having sex when they're not even, when they're still kids. No, we don't need to be talking about these things. But, everything has a time. I don't want my son being taught by somebody else in these foster care situations that I don't even know their standard of living. Look at my son's skin the way it was. My son had his own bathroom, his own bedroom, his toys. He's a collector of rocks and a collector of, he likes to read books about the planets, and he likes to read books about dinosaurs. He knew just about every dinosaur name that there was, or there is. Just about. He had, he was very good at reading and drawing. He was making his little music, being goofy, because I couldn't afford a music instructor because I wasn't making any money. I just let him be. I've heard from some of the best musicians out there are the ones who taught themselves. There's nothing wrong with you teaching yourself how to play an instrument. Just because you're poor does not make you, what is the word I'm looking for? Being poor is not a crime. So, I think I've said enough. Let us be realistic with our children, and let us be realistic with our teenagers, and let us be realistic with our men and women, and let us be realistic with our scientists. I know they need to do what they do. Scientists are amazing people. Scientists are amazing people. We need scientists. We need mathematicians to help us clean our water and our air and our land from all the past wars, all of this radioactivity and in mines and bombs and things that we've got going on, this residue in our land. God has given us dominion, permission to do it. With our God-given gifts to humanity, whether you're a scientist or a mathematician or a politician or whatever you are, God has given you dominion. But it's through the Spirit that we overcome. We will kill him with love. And we cannot be picking on the little people, the smaller nations that are already doing bad. That's where we as nations need to say, you know what? We need to help our brother. And instead of criticizing the politician across the globe and spending all kinds of propaganda, investigating your opponent, your political opponent, or, propaganda against one another, it's like, why don't you sit down? If they like cheese, sit down and offer them the best cheese your nation can come up with. This is some of the best cheeses we've got. Let us have cheese and let us have food from all over the place. We hold the leaves for the healing of one another. Okay? Some of us are lactose intolerant and some of us are not. Some of us like eating milk, and some of us, drinking milk, and some of us like drinking wine, and some of us like drinking coffee and drinking tea, whatever. Whatever it is that we like to eat and drink, let us come together and eat and drink already while we talk about these important issues. Because it's like, you want privacy, and you want privacy, but then you go out there and you publish whatever it is that you publish. So, I'm aware of that. There's got to be a balance. Our private lives are private, and then public life is public. If you publish it, that's because you chose to publish it. But our national security agencies, they need to know what is going on with all this coming and going because of human trafficking, organ harvesting. We don't want the hoodlums in here, whether they're from our own communities or from outside, trafficking these kids and trafficking these people and all kinds of dark stuff going on. Okay? And these FBI agents and CIA agents who know all about the dark web, we need to come out and just put it out there. We can't be having none of that stuff going on. That stuff is just right down creepy of the devil. And God we trust. I don't want none of that stuff in here. If I were the president, I certainly wouldn't be wanting any of that. I would specifically tell the FBI and the CIA, we need to be ojo con eso. Make sure we don't let any of that come in here. No, 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 no. We don't want any of that dark web stuff over here. I don't care who's involved. It can be anybody. It can be the president. It can be the vice president. I'm just saying. Okay? It can be anybody. A Congress people, senators, or it can be just the average grandma in her basement. I don't want any of that dark web going on. When I was working at P.F. Chang's, I had somebody say, oh yeah, you've never seen the dark web. There's some dark stuff in there, people selling organs and stuff. I was like, ah! No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I don't want that in here, America. No. That's what the CIA is for, and the FBI. You have dominion to do your job well. Let's go. I don't want to hear that we don't have money because we're spending so much money on what? No. We all need to remember sana, sana, sana la cochinada. Sana, sana, there's some scientists against nuclear arms. Who are they? Let's hold hands. Yes. And pray about it. Ask God to guide us as nations to do what is right. For God's sake. And we need to be helping one another with our God-given gifts, whether it's Korea and China and Saudi Arabia and America and Germany and France and all of y'all. Come together and have good food and praise God in the way that you know how. Israel, Palestine. Let's talk about the partition plan. Let's talk about the Pentagon Papers and what we can learn from that. Let us talk about the atomic bomb and how we can learn from that and not do it again. I don't want these churches all up in my business. Oh, you can't have sex. It's like, show me in the book that I'm not married because nobody wants to marry me. Nobody wants to marry me. No. Because I'm Susan Valerino. What am I supposed to do? When my papa puts something in me, they don't do it, I don't do it. Like I don't smoke because it's bad for my lungs. And I don't drink to get drunk because I vomit. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm not going to tell you that I'm doing something and I'm not, and vice versa. I pay my taxes. My taxes come out of my unemployment. My unemployment I quit getting in October. But I'm very grateful for the government giving me unemployment. Very grateful to P.F. Chang's. Very grateful because that's my favorite serving job at P.F. Chang's. I absolutely loved it. Yes. I'm misunderstood. Somebody was tipping me $1 and they were wearing a Metallica shirt. And if I thought about it, I would have been like, oh, Juan. But I was like, well, I just got $1 tip because servers only make $3. You know, and it's like, well, we need money to increase the rates for the servers. You know, that's why I wanted to have my own restaurant because I need help running a restaurant, okay? God bless America. Woo! My papa has mercy on us. Believe me, he does. Yes, he does. I see Paul and Jeremiah. Yes. And Albert Einstein, too. President Eisenhower and Dr. Martin Luther King and Maria Montessori and Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, these are the 5 doves of peace. Yes. And we're just tiny, tiny. Don't you know? We're just tiny, tiny, tiny. Tiny, tiny little beings. Okay? There's something bigger than us. And his Papa God is watching everybody. Looking after his children. Now I'm looking after my son Alexander. I don't want to hear anything negative. I need my son returned to me because I am a good mama. I would be asleep by now. I would be asleep, waking up tomorrow morning, taking him to Pump It Up, Hobby Lobby. Everybody knew Alexander at Hobby Lobby. Oh, here comes Alexander. Alexander would always try to be taken off to the dinosaurs. It's like, Alexander, ven para acá. Caramba, que por aquí hay gente que se roba los niños. And I would be telling him, because I know people looking out for little kids to steal. It's like, don't be stealing kids because Papa Dios te está viendo. ¿Oíste? Thank you.